Welcome to the 2021 Georgia Tech InVenture Prize. Thank you all for being here tonight. I know this year has been a huge challenge, but I can assure you every safety protocol is being rigorously followed so we can all be here together tonight safely. And other than this mask you'll see me and everyone else wearing, I'm confident you won't notice any changes. After all, nothing can stop innovation at Georgia Tech. Am I right?
Just let me know when you're done so I can lock up.
Okay, let's just, all of us, let him know when we're done so he can lock up.
Brought to you live by the Georgia Institute of Technology. It's the 2021 Georgia Tech InVenture Prize. Tonight, Georgia Tech's leading student innovators compete for $35,000 in prizes and patents. And now, please welcome your host, Emmy Award winner, Faith Salie.
Wow, listen to that applause. I mean, sure, it's fake, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Full disclosure, we do not have an audience right here tonight. We do have sound effects, which may come in handy for the occasional round of applause. I love it. Or, I don't know, maybe even a laugh. Not that any of my jokes will be anything less than uproariously funny. Right, T-Bone? Well played. By the way, T-Bone is our Emmy Award-winning director and sound effects master. I can't get enough of it. It just doesn't matter if it's fake. We are here, y'all. We made it. Welcome to the 13th annual Georgia Tech InVenture Prize. And after a year of quarantining and mask wearing and deep nasal swabs, things have turned a corner. I am so happy we are back. We are live, as always, but to be safe, everyone on stage tonight will be masked and socially distanced. And maybe because this is our 13th annual show, I'm feeling lucky. Now, I know that for many, 13 is considered an unlucky number, but I beg to differ. For instance, 13 is the number of original U.S. colonies. And if you're afraid of that, well, you hate America. Now, of course, as we all know, Georgia Tech was founded in 1885 on October 13th, that's right. And, you know, snagging a baker's dozen at my local donut shop always makes for a good day. So, if fear of the number 13 is triskaidekaphobia, which it is, then I am clearly a triskaidekaphiliac. You see, I believe the number 13 bodes well for tonight's show. I mean, it can't be mere coincidence that the 6 teams who have made their way to our stage tonight consist of a total of 13 students. What could be luckier? But setting the question of luck aside, let's leave nothing to chance and get the show underway. To share a little more information on prizes and People's Choice voting, I'll send things over to my good friend and co-host who is safely and socially distanced in a neighboring studio, Ashley Mengwasser. I miss you. Ashley?
I miss you too, Faith. This year, the team who takes home first place will earn $20,000, as well as entry into Georgia Tech's CreateX Startup Launch Program. Our second place team will take home 10 Gs. Both first and second place prizes also include legal assistance with a patent filing, sponsored by the Georgia Tech Research Corporation. Those 2 prize packages will be awarded by our panel of expert judges, but there is a third prize, which our contestants are vying for, the often imitated, never duplicated People's Choice Award. This is where you come in, because this special award is chosen by our audience. Whether you're watching on TV or on our live stream at gpb.org, you can vote for your favorite team and send them home with a check for $5,000, sponsored by the Georgia Center of Innovation for Manufacturing. Now, voting for People's Choice will open after all 6 teams have finished presenting. You'll be able to cast your vote either by texting your team's keyword to 206-792-7655 or by visiting gpb.org/vote. or both, as 1 vote per device will count. You heard that correctly. After that, you're just giving your fingers a little extra exercise. I'll give you each team's keyword as we go, and I'll remind you of all the keywords after our final team has presented. At that point, we will open up the voting. I'll be back with keywords and more. For now, I hand things back to you, Faith.
Thank you, Ashley. And you know, if there is one success we had in Georgia this year, it was setting a new record for voting. So let's keep that vibe alive with tonight's People's Choice Award. And before I introduce our first team, let's take a moment to meet our judges. You materialized. Hello there. I love your masks. So they are at a safe social distance, of course. Now, first is a returning judge. He is a Georgia Tech engineering grad and former captain of the swim team, the founder and managing general partner of Tech Square Ventures. Please welcome Blake Patton. Listen to that fake applause. It's nice, right? I feel like it's sincere still.
Right.
Next, we welcome a first-time judge and AI scientist at Amazon. She earned a PhD from Georgia Tech in 2014 and is the founder of the Bean Path, a nonprofit organization filling the tech gap in underserved communities. We are thrilled to have Dr. Nashley Cephas.
Hello, everyone.
Nashley, they're bananas for you. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Our third judge this evening is the only 2-time winner of the Georgia Tech InVenture Prize, having captured the crown in 2017 and 2019. Currently leading strategy and operations for Oxos Medical, creators of the Micro-C handheld X-ray system. It's Georgia Tech graduate Dev Mandavia. Welcome, Dev. You feel this energy, right? All right, thank you, judges, for being with us tonight, and thank you, production team, for that fake applause. So, oh my gosh, you guys are on fire. Now, it is time to put our first team on the spot, literally.
Hi, I'm Matt McMullen, and along with my teammate Emma Bivings, we are Spot Harness. About 5 years ago, my family dog Gracie went blind. She's been with us for over a decade, and since then she's struggled tremendously with constantly running into things, and she's lost so much enthusiasm for life. I decided I really want to try to come up with a solution and help her live her life to the fullest. As it turns out, Gracie's not alone. As of a survey from 2010, there were over 300,000 blind dogs in the US alone, and that number is expected to have risen. As 2 mechanical engineers from Georgia Tech, Emma and I knew that we could come up with a smart and well-rounded solution to this problem. If we won the InVenture Prize, it would mean so much. Not only would we be able to file for a full utility patent for our product and start manufacturing it for dog owners like myself worldwide, but more importantly, I'd be fulfilling a lifelong promise to my best friend, Gracie.
I think I speak for everyone when I say, oh, all right, it looks like this is exactly what we all needed to see right now. So let's find out more about the champions of the animal world, Spot Harness.
Thank you, Faith. Blindness in dogs is an often overlooked but devastating condition for both the pets and their owners. Over 300,000 dogs in the US alone, including my family's beloved Gracie, who have impaired or no vision at all, must navigate their world without any sufficient products to assist them. And in the rare case that medical intervention can halt or otherwise reverse the blindness, these procedures often cost several $1,000s per eye. So after surveying over 500 dog owners and personally interviewing numerous owners of blind dogs, the main lesson I learned was that collisions with obstacles are the #1 pain point caused by the pet's deteriorating vision. For many of these blind dogs, the uncertainty of the potential danger that surrounds them leads to other conditions such as anxiety, depression, loneliness, and/or behavioral issues that contribute to an overall decrease in quality of life. That's certainly been the case for my dog, Gracie. As you can see, Gracie runs into pretty much everything that stands in her way, and it's so hard to watch. And as I've witnessed her experience these challenges, I've promised Gracie for the past 7 years that I will develop her a solution, and I've lost many a night's sleep worrying that I'm running out of time with her. But the interviews that we've conducted have only validated that others are desperate for the same solution, and our progress has inspired us to work harder than ever before. So together, Emma and I are so proud to say that we've developed the first prototype of the Spot Harness, and we're officially patent pending. And we could not be more excited to show you how well it works. So here's the harness in action, taken on Gracie just prior to the previous video. Here in her very first run through, you can see Gracie slowly approach each obstacle, stop ahead of time, and successfully and safely course correct around them. The Spot harness is just like any other dog harness available on the market today, except it's equipped with a system of proximity sensors and small, gentle, vibrating motors. The sensors detect obstacles and trigger the harness to vibrate in order to alert the wearer of the impending collision. As the wearer gets closer to the obstacle, the vibration will progress from a slow and steady pulse to a faster and more consistent hum. And in just her first 3 days of training through multiple unique obstacle courses such as this one, Gracie was already avoiding obstacles on average 3 times more often while wearing the harness. But most importantly, her happiness was evident as her tail was wagging and she was experiencing more physical and mental stimulation than she has since her diagnosis. And while Gracie's success is nothing short of inspirational, we're currently working diligently to ensure that this is a flexible solution for any dog. That's why we're currently fitting this tech to 6 local blind dogs that range in age, size, and blindness severity, and conducting similar testing and training procedures on them as we did with Gracie. While we're still very early in this process, with continued positive results from many different amazing dogs such as Gracie and Ella here, and a win here at the InVenture Prize, we would be able to expand our team, streamline our circuit, and file for a full utility patent so that we can provide an extra set of eyes for aging and blind dogs everywhere.
That is a happy tale. All right. Who are the best judges ever? You are. Yes, you are. All right, sit, stay. Now, let's fetch some questions. Nashley, will you bring our first one?
Sure, absolutely. So you're really tugging at my heartstring here, especially with the video. I think you all knew what you were doing, but hey, it worked. But I am a big dog lover. I have a 13-year-old Yorkie. He is a grumpy old man, and he is just barely, it's just as spry and just running around the house like he's not even old or anything. But he definitely has issues. You can definitely see things starting to happen. So I think this is amazing. So my question is how well, so you mentioned using this product across different types or different species of dogs. So I'm wondering, how does the accuracy of the technology vary with different types of dogs?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So as far as the accuracy, to answer that specifically, the biggest thing with the different sizes is ensuring that the sensors are pointing forward and really from a training standpoint that the dogs are keeping their heads up so they're not interfering with the sensors. But additionally, I want to point out that our device comes with a mobile application within which you can adjust settings such as the distance of sensing. The app can also keep track of the success of the dogs, and so if it's giving you feedback as an owner and telling you your dog is not avoiding as many obstacles as you would like them to, you can adjust these settings so that they can hopefully do better.
Wonderful, thank you.
Blake, you were the first person I saw writing something down. What question do you have?
Yeah, so my question is about the training. Do you have to train the dog, or will the dog's owner be able to train the dog?
So that is another great question. Right now, with the 6 local dogs, I am the one doing training, though it's important for me to say I'm not a certified dog trainer, and we would love to, with the winnings from this, be able to have more prototypes on hand that we can give and work directly with trainers who can then work with their own clients in this field. There's really not a whole lot of options out there for dog trainers, really anywhere in the space for blind dogs, but dog trainers don't have a lot of tricks up their sleeves to help these dogs. So we think that this would be a great product for dog trainers as well.
In addition to that, we'd like to put training videos on the app to make it accessible for anyone and have trainers come in and show some examples of how to work with your dogs in different types of situations.
Dev?
Very good.
How much does it cost to produce, and what's the pricing structure that you guys are planning to use?
Absolutely. So this is our first working prototype. Making this cost just under $100, and that is working through just kinks along the way. Once we move into production and have our circuit board go through manufacturing and work with the harness maker, we're looking at putting it out on the market for around between $200 to $350, and we believe that production costs would come in probably around $70 to $80.
Who else has a question?
Are there any regulatory requirements for devices for pets?
No, not for pets specifically. Yeah, none that we could find. We did extensive searching to ensure that we were, following any sort of regulations, and we couldn't find anything.
We have also worked with vets along the way. We've been sharing our progress with them, and they're very excited about what they've seen, specifically pet ophthalmologists. Gracie's ophthalmologist was very enthusiastic about the results and has shared hope in seeing how it develops and even express an interest in selling it in their office in the future, specifically to clients.
How often is a harness replaced? So after they purchase one, how often are they buying another one, or how long do they last?
So we anticipate that the harness should likely last. We cannot guarantee it will last the duration of the dog's life, especially if they get it as a younger puppy. The blindness can hit the dogs at any point in their life. It's really, who can guess it, So for the young ones that might be a bit more aggressive, maybe they put it through a bit more wear and tear over time and might need to replace it once in their lifetime. But for many of the dogs who are struck with blindness in middle or older age, they shouldn't need to replace it.
Anything else?
Quick question: How often? How does this price compare to just other similar dog electronic helping devices?
So that's a great question, especially because you mentioned electronic. So within the pet space, and specifically harnesses and collars, electronics are just barely breaking through these days. My dog, she has an LED one, so we can see her at night when she's off without a leash. They have health monitoring ones, sort of like a Fitbit for a dog. But there's very limited products in the pet space that integrate electronics and smart technology.
And doggone it, we are out of time. So it means the world is your oyster when it comes to entering this world of
Absolutely.
Of dog
it's an
technology.
emerging industry.
That's right. Well, thank you, and thank you, judges. And now let's harness our enthusiasm and send things over to Ashley.
Just spotted Faith, the top dog in Matt's world, his mom, Susan. After that pitch, we need to know more about the pawson behind this invention. Susan, tell us Gracie's story. How is she taking to the spot harness?
Gracie was born the day my father died, and so we knew she was a dog for us, but it has been heartbreaking over the past 11 years to watch her go blind. And I would do anything, but there haven't been any options to do anything with. So Matt's been working on this for a while, and we are so excited that it is working so well that she has gotten some youthfulness back. She is playing like a puppy again and sleeping like a baby at night.
You've got to admire her dogged persistence, Susan. To vote for Team Spot Harness for the People's Choice Award, text keyword SPOT when voting opens later in the show. More treats for Gracie, Faith, I think.
Thanks for throwing me a bone, Ashley. Tonight's second team has designs on making the creative process easier to navigate. Let's find out all about CADe.
Hi, I'm Sai Kilaru, and together with Matt Siegler, Jake DePiero, Sean Cody, Tarun Muthuchami, and Ryan Sojak, we're Team CADe, and we've revolutionized the way engineers interact with their design software. CAD is a software that allows engineers to design and analyze products in digital 3D space without physically prototyping them. Worldwide, there are over 100 million CAD users, but there's a problem. CAD engineers can design parts in their heads much faster than they can model them. In the past decade alone, computers and technology have evolved at a lightning pace, but engineers are stuck designing rockets, planes, and life-saving medical devices with a plain old computer mouse. The computer mouse is a cumbersome way to design products, so we've designed a better way. After months of customer discovery, we believe that we've found the solution that'll really tailor to the market need. By winning the InVenture Prize, we can reach more engineers at a global scale and help make the world better, faster.
Now let's get some team-aided explanation about computer-aided design. Team CADe, take it away.
Judges, computer-aided design software, or CAD, is used by over 100 million engineers, designers, and creatives worldwide. It enables users to design and analyze products in 3D space without spending the time or money required to prototype in the real world. Since its introduction in the 60s, CAD has revolutionized the industry and is now the foundation of modern engineering. But there's a problem with it. CAD users can design parts in their head faster than they can model them in the computer. We went out and we talked to over 100 million engineers from top companies like SpaceX, NASA, and Mercedes Formula One team. We asked them simply, what is your biggest frustration when using CAD? The overwhelming answer, CAD is too slow. We found that fundamentally, the user input bandwidth was too low. So we set out to take a user interface that usually looks like this and turn it into something that looks like this. My name is Matt Siegler. I'm a co-founder and CEO of CADe. CADe is an intuitive 3D manipulation and shortcut mobile application designed to pair with CAD to immediately improve user workflow efficiency. CADe is designed to be used with the left hand to manipulate your model in 3D space, which frees up your right hand to select geometry and do all the other necessary commands for CAD. The bottom portion of the screen is dedicated to this 3D mouse function, and the top portion is dedicated to user customizable shortcuts to avoid digging through endless menus. To use Caddy, users simply drag to rotate, pinch to zoom, or two-finger drag to translate to manipulate their models with zero learning curve. Here's a side-by-side comparison of Caddy versus a traditional CAD workflow with the left-hand idle. After running this experiment over and over, we found that Caddy users were able to assemble these three parts 20% faster on average. There are over 100 million CAD users worldwide. We are targeting the 20 million users of common 3D CAD packages like SolidWorks, CATIA, and Inventor. We hope that through targeted advertisements and B2B sales, we can capture this market and improve their CAD efficiency. Our team has got passion and we've got momentum. We have a design patent pending and we filed a provisional patent. We launched Caddy on the App Store this morning and we're excited that you can download it right now. While Caddy itself might not change the world, Caddy will enable aerospace engineers to design rockets faster, for biomedical engineers to develop life-saving medical equipment faster, and for all engineers and designers to change the world faster.
And you did it. From dogs to CADs. All right, making design software more accessible? I mean, what's next? Designing a TV show without a host? Judges, save me from the producer getting any ideas. Blake, do you want to start?
Sure, I'll start. So what made you choose, I guess, this touch form factor instead of, say, hand gestures or?
So there is an existing product on the market that serves more or less the same need that's hardware-based. Of all the engineers we talked to, 50% had tried one of these, but only 2.5% use one on a regular basis. We found that this was because there was an incredibly high learning curve to using that hardware-based solution. So we turned to mobile because it uses motions that users are already familiar with from interacting with their mobile devices, and it lowers the barrier to entry so we can get more people improving their CAD efficiency.
Dev?
I'd like to learn more about your competition. How much do they price their solutions for, and how much are you pricing your solution for?
So pricing for their products start at $150 and go up to $450. We haven't locked down final pricing yet, but based on early customer interviews, we think we can charge $15 a month on a subscription basis and primarily sell to engineering managers because their employees will work faster and happier with Caddy.
And do you have anyone currently paying or using the software?
No, we do not. We're currently running a beta test at a cutting-edge aerospace startup, and we have other companies that have expressed interest, and since we're live today, we will be reaching out to them shortly to begin beta tests at their companies as well.
Ashley.
Yeah, I might just say that you all look really good sitting over there like a boy band or something. I'm just waiting on somebody to start dancing or something. So in the spirit of the going to the concerts, you're saying I can essentially, while I'm at the concert after COVID, use your app and design my CAD models for work while I'm missing work.
No, so it pairs with existing CAD packages. So It serves as an additional input, so you can increase your input bandwidth to translate your models into the computer faster.
And is there a particular exit strategy to possibly get acquired by some of the SolidWorks and the other companies, or are you planning to, maintain ownership and take it all the way to, public?
The current plan is to maintain ownership, though we are open to a potential exit. Our goal is to acquire 5% of the service addressable market for a total of 1 million users. At a $15 a month subscription, this would give us over $180 million a year in revenue.
Gotcha.
Are there specific, as you've tested this, are there specific applications and use cases that it works for and also doesn't work for?
Yes, it really excels at assemblies when you have many parts in digital 3D space and you're flying around selecting edges to mate and faces that should go together. And that's where it really excels, though it is also very useful in just standard part modeling.
And do you work with any CAD software at the moment?
Presently, we only work with SolidWorks. However, we're looking to expand to CATIA, Inventor, and others as soon as possible.
Gotcha.
We have about a minute left for more questions.
So you mentioned that in your user study and the folks that you surveyed, that the top issue was how slow it was. I'm just curious, what were some of the other issues that they experienced, and are you all addressing those as well?
So CADe is a very calculation-intensive program. That's something we can't change. So we had to narrow the scope down to things we could affect. And this was one we found that had a clear benefit, a clear problem, and a solution on the market that, quite frankly, didn't work. So we decided we would attack it and do it better.
Gotcha.
What's the learning curve for that time saving to come to fruition? Because now you have the mouse, the keyboard. You got 3 things that you got to learn to move between.
With our app, it's virtually 0. We had users beta testing that would pick it up and immediately start flying around. With the alternative solution, that learning curve is more like 2 to 3 weeks, which is why many people had tried them but didn't continue using them because they're like, I can't spend the time to learn how to use this. I got work that needs to get done now.
Anything else? I just want to say that you all look like a bunch of nice young gentlemen and not a bunch of cads. It's a good show. Thank you very much, judges. Thank you, Caddy. Now let's find out who can tell us more about Caddy. Ashley?
Faith, I have student body president Brielle Lonsberry, so popular among her peers, I asked the swarm buzzing around to wait outside. Brielle helped Team Caddy with some, let's say, market research. Brielle, does every InVenture finalist get your stamp of approval?
Oh, definitely not. I'm actually good friends with a few of the guys on the team, and I got involved in their project at the very beginning during their problem exploration phase. And they frankly probably asked me because I was not the best at using CAD software. So I was able to show them how to make their software a little bit more user-friendly. And I was able to sit down and show them what tricked me up, what confused me. So they were able to make those changes. And I'm just really proud of them for making a product that truly is able to be used by everyone.
Not great with technology. That's so relatable. We should hang out sometime. You don't have to answer that now. So this team actually found a baddie to test their caddy. And if you like what you heard, you'll text keyword caddy when People's Choice voting opens. Back to you, Faith.
Thank you, Ashley. This year, our teams went above and beyond where any finalists have ever gone before. Not only did they make it through rounds of stiff competition to be here, but they did it while following strict safety protocols never before faced in this competition. I am truly inspired by what each of our finalists was able to accomplish in this most challenging year. And you will be too when you see their journey in the road to the Georgia Tech InVenture Prize.
The road to this year's Georgia Tech InVenture Prize was paved on a virtual foundation, with students, professors, and alumni leading the way. The competition officially began in September with the annual kickoff event hosted on a platform called Gatherly, a company founded by students from Georgia Tech's CreateX program.
Hi, welcome to the InVenture Prize.
The Gatherly platform allowed this year's contestants to get advice from last year's winning team.
So is there no one else in the space currently trying to solve it in the same way?
More contestants were added to the field during the 2020 Capstone Design Expo, where organizers gave away several golden tickets, allowing select teams to skip the preliminary round.
I am from Georgia Tech InVenture Prize, and we are going to give you guys a golden ticket straight to the semifinal round.
For the rest of the contestants, it was back online for the prelims, where students did their best to impress the judges.
Why don't you tell me a little about your invention?
We are Team Harlan Retractor.
Welcome to Simple. Squeak will win the InVenture Prize because we're taking the frustration of group decision making and turning it into something fun like speed dating.
The last stop before the semifinal round was a virtual workshop where semifinalists were invited to perfect their pitches.
Our team has poured our hearts and souls into this.
The semifinals were also a virtual affair in which 27 teams faced a panel of judges, this time on Rocket Judge, another company founded by Georgia Tech alumni.
What kind of feedback are you getting from users?
7 months and more than 50 teams from where it all began. Tonight, we finally find out which of these 6 teams will win the 2021 Georgia Tech InVenture Prize.
Our next finalist is also hitting the road to help homeless people with a garment designed to adapt to the environment. Let's meet the woman behind the revolutionary Delta jacket.
Hi, I'm Aya. I'm from Team Delta Jacket,
and I found a better way to give the homeless back some much-needed warmth and comfort. Right now, there are 150 million people who are homeless in the world. That's 2% of the population. And what's even more heartbreaking is that 900 homeless Americans alone will freeze to death by the end of the year. But they don't have to. The Delta Jacket addresses two specific problems: human survival and human dignity. The Delta Jacket is a revolutionary way to help thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people meet their basic human needs. I created Delta Jacket out of a genuine interest to help the homeless. Honestly, I didn't know that I would make it to the InVenture Prize stage. Now that I'm here, I think that this would be a platform to impact thousands of lives and help thousands of people.
Wow. Wow. Okay, Delta Jacket, you have outlined a problem that affects homeless people around the world, so let's hear about your solution.
Well, let me start by telling you the story of Nathaniel. Once upon a time, on the streets of downtown Atlanta, I met a PhD named Nathaniel. But unlike any PhD you might know, Nathaniel brushed his teeth with the water from the fountain at Woodruff Park. See, Nathaniel was homeless. And that just goes to show you that homelessness can strike anyone at any time. These people are our mothers and brothers and sisters and fathers, and they need our help. And that's why I created the Delta Jacket. It's a revolutionary new product that can help give the homeless back some much needed heat and comfort. Comfort that's needed when you're camping every day outside, and heat that's needed to keep you from freezing to death. This jacket won't solve homelessness, but it can give them back a shred of their dignity and help them survive. The Delta Jacket, with its unique and patent-pending technology, is an inflatable and reversible garment that can be blown up for added insulation or to act as air mattress-type bedding. It also comes lined with an emergency foil fabric that can insulate you by reflecting your body heat inwards. And if it gets too hot, you can just flip it inside out and keep yourself cool. Either way, it's portable enough to just roll up and put in its very own bag. But before I talk your ears off about all the other specs that the Delta Jacket has, let's take a step back. While many, many homeless people are exposed to the elements unwillingly, there are 40.5 million Americans who willingly put their lives in Mother Nature's hands every single year for days on end. Those brave souls are called campers. But unlike the homeless who go through that every day, campers can afford their own gear. So because of the overlapping prospects between those two groups, I thought to sell the Delta Jacket as camping outerwear, and for every one jacket sold, one will be donated to the homeless. And to show you that my head isn't in the clouds, I've already received 512 pre-orders, and my website's only launched a few days ago. To that note, the Red Cross is already committed to distributing 1,000+ units of the Delta Jacket as soon as it's manufactured. So, if I win the InVenture Prize, I am going to use that initial investment to launch my Buy One, Donate One venture and start tooling and manufacturing this jacket. This invention has the potential to save the lives of hundreds of thousands of homeless people, and it can give a proportional number of people the medium in which to help the cause. Imagine how many lives we can save by merely helping people stay warm. Thank you.
Okay, wow. So an inflatable, reversible garment for homeless people. All right, the creativity is blowing up here. Let's see now if the Delta Jacket can hack it. Who would like to ask the first question? Dev, you want to start?
What does the intellectual property cover?
So the intellectual property covers not only the inflatable aspect of the garmentry, so the closest thing that a US patent office has come to is an inflatable life vest, inflatable mattresses, all of those things that we know about. But the patent that I've filed covers, or the provisional patent that I've filed, covers the inflatable aspect of the garment because it can't be sewn. so it had to be manufactured a certain way. And it includes the manufacturing process that outlines 4 different types of ways to manufacture the jacket itself.
Do you have any additional demographics about the ones that have already purchased your jacket?
So from the statistics on the website, I've actually received pre-orders from all around the world, mostly Italy and the Middle East, and some cities in the US. Other than that, I know that a lot of them are camping enthusiasts or interested parties and just friends and family of the Georgia Tech community. I've also come across or come in contact with a lot of contacts in both the NGO sphere and the camping sphere who are willing to write about the Delta jacket as soon as it's manufactured and on its way.
Yeah, I was going to suggest maybe looking at military and government contracts too for this sort of thing.
Interesting.
So love your passion and vision around this. You talked about this partnership with Red Cross for distribution. Beyond that, how do you get these jackets into the hands of the homeless?
So essentially, like the Red Cross, there are so many nonprofit organizations around the world, be it for homeless or refugees, or the Red Cross isn't even in charge of homelessness alone. It's in charge of disaster relief. So there are so many different venues that I can explore through NGOs. And hopefully later on, when I establish my product, I'd like to offer them the chance to buy the jackets as a whole, because they do call for action and call for products like this to be utilized as utensils and garments and all of these things.
Dev.
How much does it cost to make the jacket?
So after consulting a few manufacturers, we've chalked up the cost of the jacket twofold. First, I'd like to use the initial investment from the InVenture Prize to tool the jacket, which a manufacturer has quoted me as $15,000. And then on the other side, another manufacturer has quoted me that it would take $28 per unit to assemble the jacket, since it doesn't require as much time for assembly. And seeing as a lot of jackets of this sphere as outerwear are marketed or sold, manufactured at $40 per unit plus, I think it's a very competitive price given the market.
So are you making 2 jackets for every one you sell, one to the customer and then one to give away?
Yes. So I think this intimate type of relationship can really hit it home when it comes to donations. Usually, when you're donating something, you don't know the face of the person who you're sending it to, or if it's going to go to a person in general. So I think the buy one, donate one venture is both feasible, since the jacket is so low cost, and it's just a better way to attract people to buy the jacket.
Dev, I'm going to start calling you numbers guy. I like it. You get right to it. And just a quick observation, they look really cool. I imagine that was part of the plan.
Yeah, actually, there are other jackets on the market for the homeless, but they look like they're manufactured for the homeless. They don't look aesthetically pleasing. And the whole point of the jacket is to reduce the stigma around homelessness by...
And I have to cut you off there, but that's a great place to end. Thank you so much. Thank you, judges. Had I created the Delta jacket, it would be my ego that would be inflating. Ashley, let's get a little perspective about the woman behind this design from someone who knows her.
For a yellow jacket to design a jacket is, shall we say, fitting, Faith. But the beauty in this design is best explained by Aya's innovation studio work led by Professor of Practice Herb Velasquez. Herb, you routinely see such amazing ideas. What was remarkable about Aya's?
Aya focused on the homeless, who are typically overlooked. But she saw a humanitarian need that she can address by applying her design thinking skills and her fashion skills to arrive at this innovative Delta jacket. Aya is a real go-getter, and I'm really proud of her.
It is definitely an A-plus idea from an A-plus human being. Thanks, Herb. If you think Delta jacket wore it best for People's Choice, text keyword Delta when the polling begins. I'll tell you when. Faith.
Thank you, Ashley. If you thought the recent stock market news about GameStop was exciting, just wait until you hear about this innovation.
Hey, my name is John Wooten. The team is Block Transfer, a decentralized stock transfer agent protocol for global financial markets. Firms waste billions of dollars every single year on a finance firm called a stock transfer agent for what essentially amounts to a glorified Excel spreadsheet. I was writing this big 50-page term paper, and at the very end I realized we could actually apply everything in it to the stock transfer agent market, and that's when I decided to really start working on the technology. I always had a passion for trading stocks. Some of my best memories in high school are trading the opening bell in physics or going through my portfolios in science while my teacher does a lab. And then 2 years ago, I published a best-selling book on finance. Block Transfer is currently SEC compliant, and winning the InVenture Prize allows us to attract and retain the top talent needed to flawlessly execute our vision of a decentralized stock transfer protocol.
Okay, let's meet the team helping simplify the open stock transfer protocol. And if we're lucky, give us a few hot stock tips. It's Block Transfer.
Thank you. As a kid, my dad would come home after closing multi-hundred-million-dollar bond deals, which I thought was just the coolest. I got hooked on stocks in high school, and ever since then, it's just completely changed my life. But one thing I realized really early on is there are a lot of inefficiencies in the market. In fact, there's an average of 11 middlemen in any given trade. One of these firms is called a transfer agent, and they're the reason why when you buy GameStop stock, it might look like you get filled instantly, but in reality, there's a lot more going on behind the gate. In fact, if you ring up a transfer agent today, you're going to speak to 4 to 7 people who manually process the trade over the course of weeks oftentimes, in a very slow and efficient process, and all these people have to get paid. Now, every public firm on earth is required to have a transfer agent. They record a ledger, looks very similar to this. They're taking track of all the shareholders or debt holders for a public firm. And this is incredibly important for things like shareholder voting, dividend distribution, or stock splits. But the way that it's implemented is fundamentally flawed. As you see here on the left, there's one big trusted central intermediary, one central party, and that party charges a lot of money for something that costs very little. And because all of the trust is delegated to one central intermediary, the more that they charge, the more secure their accounting appears. Now, I apologize, I don't have the mean of $400,000 that they charge per year. But this firm alone is $1.44 billion every year in the US of wasted shareholder money that should really be put to a higher use. Now, if you look over to your right, you'll see a decentralized blockchain. And what is incredible is that blockchain was created for the sole purpose of recording ledgers just like this one. And what we've done is we've taken the transfer agent protocol and we've created a system of tokenizing individual assets for public firms and acting as the regulatory intermediary with contractual obligations with the firms so that all of their compliance is complete and the underlying accounting for their transfer agent services is based on a decentralized protocol. And what this does for the shareholders, first of all, gives them immediate access to their assets, lets them transfer them geometrically faster, while also giving them much more security because there's no central point of failure. And for the 42,000 firms that have to pay for this service every single year, they just take their list of shareholders, transfer it over to Block Transfer. It's like nothing happened the next week. Everything works the same, except the firm's bill plummets. It is significantly, very, very much cheaper. We've detailed all this in our provisional patent application. And since publishing our protocol, I've had 38 firms reach out to us that want us to be their transfer agent. And we're in top talks with executives, CEOs, C-suites, CFOs. And I'm just so proud to say they're making this happen because decentralizing the stock transfer agent market really is the first step to opening global financial markets to the billions of people on this planet who just don't have access to quality equity investments. That's why I'm so excited to share it with you this evening.
Thank you. And I mean, here I thought Stock Transfer Agent Protocol was the title of the new Mission Impossible movie. Well, live and learn. All right, let's cruise over to our judges to live and learn some more. Blake, thank you for giving me that head nod on my terrible joke. Why don't you take the first question?
Sure. So tell me, what's the go-to-market for this? What has to change in the industry? So I get if you were, a stock transfer agent and you had your solution based on that technology, but what else has to change for that to work?
You bet. So the transfer agent's hired by the underlying company. So really, it's one of the simplest industries in all of finance. You only have to integrate with the underlying firm. So as long as you file some of their regulatory documents, you are their transfer agent. And if anyone wants to trade the stock, they're going through you. That's just how it works. So it's really just getting it to the firm by essentially offering them a commodity service for significantly less with much more security.
Dev.
I want to hear more about the 38 firms that have reached out to you. What kind of demographic, I guess, market cap are these types of companies?
You bet. So we're initially targeting the U.S. market just because I have much more comfort in that regulation area than anywhere else. So they're all U.S. firms. It ranges a lot. You've got bigger firms. I'm not supposed to name names, but you're like 1.8 billion kind of is sort of a high end. And then it ranges all the way down to just pink sheets. They're only worth a couple dozen million. So it's a very wide range because they all need the service.
And how do you make money? So I understand what you're developing. What is the process for you to actually capture revenue here? And what is that different than what current stock transfer agents are doing?
You bet. So the whole accounting process is all decentralized once we tokenize the security. But at the end of the day, they have to have a transfer agent by law. There has to be someone there. And so we've created it in a way, we're very concerned, obviously, about the sustainability of it. So there's a lot of fallbacks on it in the event that, we explode, everyone goes down in a plane crash. But in general, it's similar to the way it normally works. Same kind of contract with the firm. They pay you money. You're their transfer agent. It's just a difference in the way the accounting functions. And aside from that, it's a very similar process as what is currently being practiced.
Ashley.
What are some of the closest competitors in the blockchain space, and how are you setting yourself apart from them?
There's really no one I know of that's doing this.
That's a huge thing to say.
Or just any similar, just anything remotely.
I have personally never seen anyone try to do anything like this.
Okay.
Why do you think that is? Because it's hard?
Well, it took me 2 years running hedge fund to even learn what a transfer agent was, and a lot more research to figure out how inefficient it was. And I just don't think there's a lot of people in the blockchain space that have that experience in finance. And there's not a lot of people with experience in the transfer agent space that have much experience in blockchain.
Or who went to Georgia Tech. Let's just throw that out there.
What's the value proposition to get the company? So I see the long-term vision, but in the beginning, choosing you over another, transfer agent. What's that sort of near-term value proposition to them?
Really, most of what we're targeting are firms that are already public. They've already been paying transfer agent fees for it's just significantly cheaper. We're trying to implement it all, but you're looking at orders of magnitude cheaper for them.
So what are you pricing your service at?
You bet. So again, last week we were finishing everything we needed to be able to process paper security. So we just published this Sunday. So very, very recent. We're very much looking at a cost of 10 times less than the market current norm, and being able to price more than less than a third of what our competitors are charging at a baseline rate, depending on what the firm needs in terms of their TA services.
Got about 15 seconds. Anybody?
I guess the short question is regulatory. What do you have to do to qualify?
You bet. Transfer agents, much more lax reg than any other financials. There's 6 main programs you have to go through. We're registered for all 6.
Okay, that's it. I'm going to have to block transfer of any more questions. Decentralizing the global financial marketplace, what a great idea. And I know because I once decentralized the Deep Space Nine trading card marketplace, but no one cared. I deserve that. Thank you, Tony. Ashley, help me. Whom are you with to tell us more?
Help is on the way, Faith. I'm with someone who takes stock in John's invention. This is John's friend, Jake Crapster. This man is so true a friend, he drove from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I don't reimburse mileage. Jake, John has a profound passion for stock trading. There's only one way to put that. Where does it come from?
Yeah, Ashley, John, he started trading stocks back in high school. He wrote the book 9 to Noon as a junior in high school. And then, he created an investing club. He packed the room. Then he has a YouTube channel, a podcast that people can listen to. I learned a lot from him that I currently implement in my trading myself. John, he's a true entrepreneur. He sleeps 20 minutes every 4 hours.
What?
You know, you just got to be different as an entrepreneur, and John has that.
That John, he's our unicorn. To become a true blockhead, vote block transfer for the People's Choice Award using keyword block. Voting will open up soon. I now transfer control of this program. Back to you, Faith.
Thank you, Ashley. Well, tonight you are seeing our 6 stellar finalists. This competition started with more than 50 impressive teams. And just because you won't see all of them tonight, that doesn't mean those teams are done. One of the keys to invention is reinvention. Let's look at some of the innovations that you might see, maybe next year.
I'm Joel.
I'm Will.
And we are Team TipJar.
We're Team StrideLink.
I'm Team Mindhold.
The name of our company is TetraMeet, and we're an automated conversation analyzer. So we join online meetings and track interruptions and speaker variants to get a quantification of the equity.
Perhaps summarizing the invention in one sentence might be helpful.
Cardboard trash can is a flat pack trash can aimed for sustainability.
Man, that's very clever what you've done.
I'm Team Mata Mosca, and I've invented a way to kill flies with a laser gun.
What evidence do you have that this will work?
We're Team Pluto, and we designed a more sustainable drip coffee machine.
TipJar is a mobile application to help Generation Z reach financial independence.
If I turn it on, you can hear, the stereo speakers allow it to play the laser sounds. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a proper laser gun.
So that sounds great. You sold me.
I have a question.
So many flies got into my food, and I was determined to find a solution.
Congratulations. It's great to know that something you've invented is, changing someone's life like that.
I don't know if the judges want a $3,000 laser gun that shoots flies, but I'm here for the People's Choice Award. So vote for me, Mata Mosca.
Mad props to Mata Mosca, but you know what? I'm kind of old school. Yeah. Just call me the SWAT team. All right, a case is a case for just in case, only when it's a B case, because a B case is a case with a cause. Did you follow that? If not, just know that our next team is BCase.
Hi, I'm Sammy Hasten, and I'm Team BCase. Millions of women take birth control pills each day. And due to the typical use rate of not taking your pills consistently every day, there are roughly 500,000 unwanted pregnancies each year in the United States alone. I reached out to over 300 women across 70 universities to hone in on the problem and find a way to solve it. After months of ideation and prototyping, I came up with a solution that could help the roughly 4 million women who forget to take their birth control pills because when their alarm goes off, they don't have their pills on them. The idea for BCase was inspired by a friend of mine. She consistently forgot to take her birth control, so I set out to find a solution to help her, and it turns out I was helping roughly 4 million other women. BCase will win this year's InVenture Prize because for too long, men have been designing products specifically for women, and I'm here to change that.
Okay, so this is a kind of block transfer too, isn't it? All right, BCase, state your case.
Each year, 25,000 women who use oral contraceptives experience an unplanned pregnancy despite taking their medication at the exact same time every single day. This means that even with perfect use, there's still a 0.3% failure rate. And hey, nobody's perfect. The typical use failure rate is 7%, which means there are roughly 500,000 unplanned pregnancies each year in the US alone. Birth control pills are designed to be taken at the exact same time every single day, so even missing this window by an hour can greatly impact the failure rate. After speaking with 300 women, I learned that forgetting to take birth control pills is a primary concern for 61% of them. I was shocked to hear how many women dealt with the same problem. So I asked why. Why do so many women struggle to take birth control daily? Turns out 40% of women forget because their alarm goes off and their pills aren't on hand. In comes BCase, a first of its kind, accessible, discreet, and secure birth control storage that attaches directly to the back of your phone. BCase is designed to help women remember to take their birth control pills by ensuring their pills and alarm are always in the same place. BCase is patent pending and proves valuable to women by adding convenience to birth control. All you have to do is flip your phone over as soon as the alarm goes off and take your pill. Easy as that. So I've explained the gravity of the problem and how I'm going to fix it. You might be wondering, why me? My name is Sammy Haston, and I'm a fourth-year biomedical engineering student with a passion for feminine health and products. Most importantly, I'm a woman who is so tired of products made specifically for women not meeting my needs. My vision is to create a suite of innovative products for women that increase the functionality and usability of products you see on the market today. And BCase is just the start. The obtainable market is targeting roughly 4 million women who forget to take their birth control because their alarm goes off and their pills aren't accessible. I project that BCase can capture 3.5% of the obtainable market in the first 2 years through the use of strategic partnerships and social media advertisements. There are smart birth control cases on the market, but what good does your smart case do when your alarm goes off in the car and your smart case is sitting on your desk at home? Women will choose BCase over alternatives because we're the very first birth control case to attach directly to your phone. I've done beta testing with 15 women to finalize designs, and I've signed a contract for manufacturing with Product Quick Start. And I'm so thrilled to share that my Kickstarter was fully funded in under 24 hours. Winning InVenture Prize will ensure that I can pay Product Quick Start to continue tooling production. But most importantly, the money will help me pay for tooling. Until now, I've been working with 3D printed models, but switching over to injection mold tooling will ensure that BCase is a scalable venture. If you have any questions on how I'm taking back the feminine product space, I'd be so happy to answer them. Thank you so much.
All right, your passion cannot be controlled. I love it. All right, judges, let's case this joint. Dev, you want to take the first one?
Sure. It sounds like you found a genuine problem to solve. How do you prevent competitors who are going to be listening in from making what you're making?
Yeah, so what I focused on is really trying to build the strongest IP portfolio. I've submitted a design patent, and we're working on switching the provisional patent over to utility. But the biggest thing, it is a simple product. It's a simple design. So what we're doing is moving quickly and trademarking everything so we can really build a brand. And really the mantra is just move quickly and just build as much hype as you can immediately while also protecting what we're able to protect.
And in case there are people who didn't go to Georgia Tech in the audience, IP stands for intellectual property.
Yeah, so I agree that defendability is a concern. But what about why, I guess, the focus specifically on birth control pills? Is that not a problem for all kinds of pills?
Yeah, so the way I've structured all the IP is to cover any multi-pill pack so it can expand. But my passion is really towards focusing on improving lives for women. So right now, I want to focus on birth control, but I have written it and structured it to ensure that I can scale it in multiple different spaces if needed.
And are you assuming that the alarms are any particular app that's focused for women to also help with other things like regulating your cycle, or is it just a pure alarm on the phone?
Yeah, so the way I designed it, I want to make sure it was just the simplest product. All it does is house the pills. So it really integrates to any current system you use to alert you to take your medication. So it could work with if you have an app, if you just use the alarm app built into the phone. So it really has no effect on that.
And what does version 2 look like for the BCase?
Yeah, so version 2 is, right now it's a universal model. It actually fits 8 of the top 10 brands and fits on most phones. But what I would like to do is there are smaller birth control cases, or birth control packs. So I'd like to accommodate people that have smaller packs so they could carry something smaller if they want to.
Gotcha.
You said you're a fourth year.
Yeah.
You're graduating soon, I assume. Are you planning on working on this full time after you graduate?
Yeah, so I'm graduating in December of next year, which is great because I do have the whole rest of the time to work on it, and what better time to work on a startup than when you're in college. So I plan to continue this, and I plan to continue this after college as well.
Got a couple minutes.
I'm going to ask about numbers again. How much does it cost to make, and how much are you selling it for?
You're on brand, Dev. I like it.
So the biggest reason I would like to win this prize is that right now I've been working with 3D printed models, and they're around $100 per model. I've been using that for beta testing, so it has been pretty expensive. As soon as I do the injection mold tooling, I can get those costs down to $3, and I'm charging, it'll be $15.95 is the price.
And do you currently have any users for those 3D printed models, or any people that are paying you for them?
Yeah, so I have 15 people that were beta testing it, and then through my Kickstarter, I've sold about 80 to 90 cases.
Is your goal to manufacture this yourself in your own manufacturing plant, like locally?
Yeah, so I would say eventually I would like to do that. Right now it's cheapest and easiest to work through companies like Product Quick Start, but eventually I would like to do it all in-house and handle it all myself.
When you talk to those women in your customer discovery, was there any concern about, I guess, the advertising or the stigma of having this case?
Yeah, so the biggest thing I want to focus on is making it discreet. So if anyone wants it to be discreet, it could be that. And there's also a cool sticker pack that I designed. So if you want to be loud and proud about it, you have the ability to do that as well. It looks no different than a phone wallet you have on your phone. So it really calls no attention. It safely stores your birth control.
I got to know what the stickers say.
It's just a bunch of little designs that are really cool.
Oh, okay. It's not, I'm on birth control. It's not. Okay. All right, I think that's it. Thank you. Thank you, judges, and thank you, Sammy. Let's learn a little bit more about this unique item. Ashley, whom do you have with you?
For a little BCase in Point Faith, I have Sammy's friend, Mary Catherine Clark, who will explain the plight of the modern-day woman of childbearing age as quickly as she can. Okay, Mary Catherine, how would you use this invention to improve your personal birth control routine?
Well, I take my birth control pill every single day at 2:50 p.m. That's a hard time to hit on the go. My actual pills come with this plastic sleeve, which is virtually useless, and I end up throwing it away in the trash. My solution was to keep my pills in my wallet. And the BCase solution is functional and it's portable, and it's almost like a phone, wallet, and a birth control case got together and had a baby.
Oh, now that is an ironic metaphor in this circumstance. Not winning the People's Choice Award would be a tough pill to swallow for BCase fans. So to cycle them to the top, use keyword case when People's Choice voting officially opens just around the corner. Faith, back to you.
Thank you, Ashley. This whole thing makes me wish I were still on birth control pills. All right, ready, player 6. It's time to start Proto. Our next innovation team wants to make makerspaces safer and more efficient.
Hi, my name's Tim, and together with my co-founder Zach, we are StartProto. Makerspaces are incredible places on college campuses where students can make whatever they want, using 3D printers, laser cutters, water jets, you name it. Georgia Tech has 26 makerspaces, the biggest of which are the Invention Studio and the Hive. The makerspaces at Georgia Tech have been an incredible part of my college experience, and quite frankly, I've learned more there than I have in my classes. Can I say that? We've talked to makerspaces around the country, and they face many of the same challenges that Georgia Tech does. Right now in most makerspaces, students can simply walk up and turn on any tool they want, which puts themselves and others at risk. Makerspaces have thrown staff and spreadsheets at these problems for years, but no one has found a scalable solution until now. Makerspaces are where we build the future. The world needs more makerspaces, and makerspaces need StartProto.
They want to create a safety and analytics system to control all shared tools in the makers marketplace. Who doesn't? Am I right? It's time to start Proto.
Great. What does almost every InVenture Prize team have in common? They built their product in a makerspace, a magical place where students have access to world-class equipment to make anything they want. The value of these spaces is undeniable, and universities everywhere have entered into a multi-million-dollar arms race to see who can equip their students best. But there's a catch. Many of the tools in these spaces are incredibly dangerous. There have been incidents where lack of proper training have caused student injuries, and in some cases, students have died. My name is Tim Felbinger, and myself and the StartProto team are on a mission to solve the tension between open tool access and safety, a problem both Zach and I felt personally as leaders in our own spaces. After talking to dozens of makerspace managers, we created the StartProto system, a patent-pending, data-driven access control system for shared tools. Let's take a look. For users, it's simple. Just tap your ID at the tool you want to use. If you're trained, our system safely enables power to the tool and you're ready to make. Users can also schedule time and queue on high-traffic tools and request training on device. For staff, we also provide incredibly granular insights as to exactly how their spaces run, such as peak usage statistics and even predictive maintenance intervals. Last semester, we installed a full set of 15 units in a woodshop at Georgia Tech and logged well over 1,000 user interactions. And while we knew that staff would feel more at ease, what surprised us the most was that new users also felt more comfortable in the space. What started out as just a capstone project has attracted organic, unsolicited interest from makerspaces around the world. And we have spent hours talking to people like Liam and the Curious Forge in California, and the student leadership team at Sheffield University about how much their spaces need our system. We've now partnered with Georgia Tech to use the Invention Studio as a development site, with production units going in next week. And we are proud to announce that within the last 2 weeks alone, we signed up another 3 makerspaces for a test of our product. When looking at makerspaces in high schools, companies, and lab spaces, we're looking at a total addressable market size of over $100 million, a market that is growing 30% year over year. But for us, makerspaces are just the beginning. We've been approached by people from industry who see great value in applying our technology to very real process compliance issues that cost companies billions of dollars annually. The two of us have been working almost full-time, filling orders and supporting our product. By winning InVenture Prize, we would get a much-needed boost in resources to help protect our idea, add members to the team, and support the growing demands of our customers. As people who have been involved in makerspaces for the last 5 years, our team is perfectly positioned to be at the forefront, helping makerspaces run safer and smarter. Thank you.
Well presented. So, judges, start your engines and start questioning StartProto. Ashley, do you want to start?
Yeah, so I'm very excited about this. I'm opening a makerspace back in my hometown of Jackson, Mississippi. Maybe even pilot customer your product. But I'm just curious, how most of the time people don't like to read instructions. So what ways are you ensuring that users are actually going to use your product before heading straight to the tools?
Right, so the tool actually, or our device sits on every single tool. So you can't actually turn on the tool unless you sign into our system. And as far as the interface goes, you really do just need to tap your card. That's a normal user. I mean, for yourself, like a makerspace manager, you can tap that thing and you can move people around the queue. You can do all sorts of advanced functionality. But for the basic user, it is really simple, and it is enforced just by the fact that you can't use the tool without it.
So you're going in and actually adhering your device into the interface of whatever the tool is. Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Well, what tools does it work with today? That was sort of my question. How do you cover that broad spectrum and be able to control, being able to turn it on or use it?
Yeah, so our first demo only worked on 120 and 240 volt tools, but we've since expanded to include everything up to 3-phase power, welders that draw 50 plus amps. So we've really thought of all the electrical constraints there. And then for your more intelligent CNC-based tools, we're actually also developing sort of a USB type interface that controls those at a much more granular level.
Dev, are you going to ask about numbers? Don't let me down.
I will in a moment, but first I'd like to hear more about how you differentiate yourself from competition. The Georgia Tech Biomedical Engineering Department had a system a few years ago that required you to use a buzz card to actually turn on or off systems. What is different about what you're providing?
Yeah, so we're actually quite familiar with that system, and quite frankly, when I'm president of the Invention Studio, we tried to implement that system as well, and it was just such a pain. So really where we differentiate ourselves is that it's very easy to use. And for schools that don't have systems like Georgia Tech, we're one of the only ones, and we provide the support that these makerspaces need to really stay running day to day.
So how much does it cost to implement it?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. So I can go in a little bit more on the numbers side. So what we found is that makerspaces want to pay for this service that we provide in terms of getting the analytics and getting the access control. So just in our initial discovery that we've been pushing around with some of our beta testers, looks to be in the $15 to $30 per month range per tool. So we feel like we're going to be able to get a market or people to buy it at that price.
Yeah, and for these makerspace budgets, I mean, I think University of Knoxville just put $129 million into their makerspace. So they really, they've already committed financially, and a system like this is really just something that'll help them succeed, so it's really worth it for them.
So there's other industrial safety systems. What makes this unique? Why don't those work in this makerspace environment?
Yeah, again, this is something that we've tried. About 2 years ago, there was a system that, industrial thing that tried to market to makerspaces, and it just didn't have the user interface, right? It's all based on these very high-level CAN bus and whatnot. So makerspaces really need something that's geared towards them, and that's exactly what we're providing.
We've got about 30 seconds left. Ashley, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, so I guess, are you targeting any particular demographic, like younger students, older people? And because I'm assuming your content will be tailored towards whatever that group is, or maybe not, I don't know, tell me.
Sure, so right now, we've primarily been targeting university makerspaces, just because that's what we know best. But we're also looking to talk to more high school robotics teams. Zach mentors a high school robotics team, because all those people have shops as well. So we're sort of starting with those markets that we know and then looking to expand out further into makerspaces in other countries, which will be done, or even into other industries entirely.
Anything else?
Is there a payment component to that for the makerspaces? Are they usage-based or just access?
Very quickly.
Yeah. So we want to be able to integrate that at some point. We want to track usage, et cetera.
Yep. And we're even working on a shop feature, which people have really been requesting.
Well done. Thank you, Team StartProto. And believe it or not, those are the final team questions for the evening. It is time now for our judges to retreat to their socially distanced special bubbles, their judging bubbles, to begin the toughest job of the night, picking the winner. Off you go. Godspeed, y'all. Don't make a mistake. All right. Of course, we will be announcing those winners in just a bit. Also, if time allows, I do have a dance routine prepared. Okay, good one, T-Bone. Way to stay awake. Okay, you just think I was joking, but okay. While our judges make their decisions, let's talk StartProto with one of their supporters. Ashley, who is that with you?
I like your moves, Faith.
Thank you.
You've heard haters gonna hate. Well, at Tech, makers gonna make. Make how? I have no idea. That's why I'm joined by Dr. Amit Jariwala, Faculty Director of Georgia Tech's Flowers Invention Studio. Dr. J, now that we understand how StartProto works, why is this so significant for makerspaces?
Well, Ashley, data is everything. StartProto collects essential data about how students use our machines and how the machines are running. This data benefits everyone working with over $1 million worth of equipment in the Flowers Invention Studio. It's also interesting to note that Georgia Tech was the first to create makerspaces in higher education back in 2009. Today, every university has one. Student-run makerspaces started here, and so it's only fitting that a student team from Georgia Tech would teach the world how they would run.
Wow, makerspaces started at Tech. That blows my mind. Great intel, Dr. J. You can now power down for maintenance. If you want StartProto to win the People's Choice Award, text keyword START and do that pronto, because People's Choice voting officially opens now. To vote, text your favorite team's keyword to 206-792-7655. Don't forget, only one vote per device will count. And watch out for autocorrect. You have to spell your team's keyword correctly for your vote to count. I love shows where spelling matters. Let's go over those keywords one more time. To select Spot Harness to win the People's Choice Award, text the word SPOT to 206-792-7655. To vote for Caddy, text Caddy. To vote for Delta Jacket, text the word Delta. If you think Block Transfer deserves the honor this year, type the word Block. If your choice is BCase, send the word CASE, not BCase, to the number on your screen. And finally, if you're pulling for StartProto, text START to 206-792-7655. You'll receive a confirmation text after you vote, but like I said, that vote will only count one time per device. Speaking of those devices, if you're on your computer, you can also vote by visiting gpb.org/vote. Our People's Choice voting will only be open for a very short window, so get those keywords sent and we'll have your results shortly. In the meantime, let's take a closer look at a very cool offshoot of the Georgia Tech InVenture Prize, the Georgia Tech K-12 InVenture Prize program. Just a few weeks ago, I met with Dr. Valerie King and a few of her innovative and adorable second grade students in Kennesaw Elementary's Advanced Learning Program. Take a look. Dr. King, you helped create the K-12 InVenture Prize curriculum for second graders. They're 7 years old. Can this be taught in a K-12 environment for second grade?
Absolutely, Ashley. Not only can it be taught, I feel like it should be taught. Everything about this curriculum is everything we want to build in world changers. We want empathy, we want problem seekers, we want problem solvers.
You build them up so well. Now I've got to meet these early learners. Zion, you're a second grader at Kennesaw Elementary. This is an invention of yours. Tell me what it's called.
It is called the doggy bump collar.
What does the doggy bump collar do?
It has sensors that would help blind dogs so almost run into a wall, that it would make a sound.
So this is for dogs who are blind?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you come up with this idea?
I have rode dogs since I was a child.
Yeah.
And so I decided to make the doggy bump collar.
I think you did a good job. Hudson, we know about Shoe Fly Don't Bother Me, and you've created something in that very same vein. What did you invent?
I invented the Bye-Bye Fly.
What does the Bye-Bye Fly do?
It keeps flies away. Killing flies, that's just sad. But with this, it just
goes away.
Well, can you tell me how the bye-bye fly operates?
Well, it works by turning the switch on, and then the fan inside and outside starts spinning.
And there's a scent inside that repels the flies, is that correct?
Yes, you are correct.
I love a play on words. This invention is like whole lotta love, but it's whole otter love. Who is this invention intended for? Who gets stressed?
I think usually kids do.
So if they have whole otter love, this is a calming, soothing creature comfort, if you will. Sammy, what does it do?
It can talk to you. You can talk to it. It has a hat for nice smells, and then you'll have a stress ball.
Do you think all kids should invent things?
They should. They can make anything they want. It's like just creating something out of your imagination.
Anyone can build anything.
Why do you think kids should become inventors?
I think they should become inventors because it's a lot of fun and you can help people.
Yeah, what about you, Ariane?
I think they should be inventors so they can solve their problems.
You guys are really smart second graders. That otter is a true gentleman. It's been nice having you, sir.
Thanks for having me!
Dr. King, your students are making absolute magic. I'm blown away by them. What skills and abilities have they developed from this?
Gosh, Ashley, you just spent a few minutes with each of them. I'm sure you saw the confidence.
Yes.
For 7-year-olds to be able to speak to any audience as eloquently and as energized as they were, that's what everybody sees. Behind the scenes, what I see are compassionate kids that really want to make a difference in the world.
How do schools out there who are on the fence learn about it and get involved?
Well, it's out there for them. K12inventure.org hosts a K-12 curriculum. It is teacher written and it is kid approved. So all they have to do is get on the internet and find it, download, and get busy creating.
Oh man, thank you, Ashley. I see where this is going. Next year, this show's going to be hosted by a talking otter. And if nothing else comes out of tonight's broadcast, can we please at least get whole otter love trending? All right, in addition to the site Dr. King mentioned in the video, the website K12inventure.georgiatech.edu has even more information about this amazing program. Of course, that isn't the only remarkable initiative we want to share with you. When the pandemic hit, maker spaces across Georgia Tech shifted on a dime to design and manufacture much needed PPE, or personal protective equipment. And to celebrate their efforts, we put together a special video about the pandemic response across the Georgia Tech makers community.
When the COVID-19 crisis hit last spring, Georgia Tech faculty and students got right to work on two major fronts: testing for the virus throughout the Georgia Tech community and supplying much-needed PPE to frontline workers.
We wanted to have a safe, simple, and sensitive test. That meant using saliva, and we were able to get the Institute behind us and support very, very quickly. We were up and running about 2,000 tests a day. The next challenge was to get students engaged, which Julianne Williamson was able to organize.
We started with 3 test sites in convenient locations such as Bobby Dodd Stadium and Tech Square, and then we expanded to 6 sites and 2 mobile testing teams that allowed us to deploy testing to potential hotspots and ensure all of our campus community had easy access to regular testing.
While researchers and facilitators worked on testing, other faculty and students took advantage of the innovation culture that is a mainstay of Georgia Tech, utilizing maker spaces across campus to develop and even manufacture life-saving equipment.
Early on in the pandemic, we thought that ventilators were going to be a shortage. So using the makerspace here on campus, we partnered with Cranfield University in the United Kingdom to develop a series of low-cost ventilators that could be deployed globally.
Perhaps the most critical need was for personal protective equipment to keep frontline workers safe as they treated patients.
As a graduate student in mechanical engineering, I was really excited to be able to use my skills, both learned in class and outside of class in the Invention studio, to make intubation boxes and face shields, which serve to protect frontline healthcare workers, both in the Georgia Tech community and abroad.
It was the profound impact of the difference he knew he was making as a member of the Georgia Tech community that served as Contessa's fuel.
It was totally awesome to be a part of this project because both my parents are paramedics, and not only was I helping them, I was helping frontline workers everywhere.
Since last summer, more than 250,000 COVID-19 tests have been administered at Georgia Tech, thanks in large part to the amazing people you just met. That's just astounding. Well, it appears that our judges have returned. You returned quickly. Nobody is sweating. That means the people's choice of voting has closed. But before we reveal these results, I can smell them through my mask. It's so exciting. Let's see if I can shake out some spoilers. This has been a year with tight races in Georgia. Was this also a tight race? What was the hardest part of your decision?
Well, first, let me just say, wow. I mean, unbelievable, right? Especially this year, we've seen how important innovation is for, changing how we work and live. And if these students are an indication, our future's bright. So this was really difficult, really tough. But in the end, I think, there were a couple teams that stood out, their passion for their vision and, their plans for how they would execute on it. So we kind of focused on that.
And Dev, is it more fun to be a judge or a competitor?
It's more fun to be a judge. I will say the teams get better every year. I'd like to think that any of the times I competed, I wouldn't have a chance this year at all, and I'm sure that'll continue to be true as we go forward.
And Nashley, was it harder than you thought to make a decision?
It was very hard. I think all these companies could easily be successful, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you all have come up in the future.
Well, thank you all. I'm glad I wasn't in your shoes. Thank you for your careful consideration and expertise tonight, and you are hereby relieved of your duties. I cannot wait to find out what they've decided. So I am very excited. Let's just light this candle. All right. I love it. Can't get enough of that applause. I would now like to invite a single member of each of our finalist teams to join me on stage. Inventurers, assemble. Thank you. Now, please note, while I would normally delight in handing the winners their trophies myself, this year we have strategically placed them on stage for the winners to stand near, if not hoist themselves. And here we go. All right, let's start with the People's Choice Award, worth $5,000. Love that sound. And the winner of the 2021 Georgia Tech InVenture Prize People's Choice Award is Delta Jacket. Congratulations. All right. Now this right here is your trophy, and you're just, for social distancing purposes, we're just going to ask you to admire it longingly from afar. But you will get it, I promise. Now it is time to announce our second place winner, who will not only get to approach their trophy, but will also receive $10,000 as well as assistance in securing a patent. And the runner-up for the 2021 Georgia Tech InVenture Prize is StartProto. Congratulations, StartProto. What was the biggest lesson you learned through this experience?
Just focus on the customer experience. I mean, engineering always seems like it's such a pressing thing, but ultimately it's your customers that are going to decide whether or not your product.
Congratulations. All right, and now it is time to announce tonight's big winner, our first place team, who will take home assistance in securing a patent, a spot in Georgia Tech's CreateX startup launch program, and a check for $20,000. All right. I'm so excited. I just want to hug someone, but it's socially distanced hug to all of you. All right, the winner of the 2021 Georgia Tech InVenture Prize is Delta Jacket. Congratulations. See, I do get to ask you a question. Good things come to those who wait. So what does winning the InVenture Prize mean to you and your team?
Well, winning the InVenture Prize means I could help potentially hundreds of thousands of people. So thank you to all of the people who voted, and thank you to all of the people who've helped me. By helping me, I will be helping thousands of homeless people. Thank you.
And what was the biggest challenge that you overcame to get here?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges is actually prototyping, especially prototyping without a makerspace. So eventually, after you research the product that you know is going to help someone, you need to follow it through.
And thank you so much for showing us where humanity and science can meet. So, wow, that will wrap it up for us. What a wonderful show. Thank you all for showing up in the way you did. What a great way to celebrate another year of amazing innovation. And if you crave even more innovation competition, the ACC InVenture Prize will be broadcast April 21st at 7 p.m. So mark it on your calendar. And I hope we've inspired you to get busy innovating too. Congratulations to all of tonight's finalists. Our People's Choice winner, Team Delta Jacket. Our second place winner, Team StartProto. And our first place winner, Team Delta Jacket. A big thank you to my co-host, Ashley Mengwasser, to our judges, to everyone who watched and supported our program, and of course to the stalwart production crew and everyone at Georgia Tech who worked especially hard to execute this year's show despite such challenging circumstances. And look, never forget, necessity may be the mother of invention, but Georgia Tech is your daddy. Good night, y'all. Congratulations! High fives, high fives, double high five. High five, high five, high
Funding for this program was made possible in part by Georgia Center of Innovation for Manufacturing, Georgia Tech Research Corporation, and the Georgia Institute of Technology.
From inner space to cyberspace to outer space. If we can do all of this, just imagine what we're doing in our own backyard.